What is up, my YouTube friends? Today I'm going to answer a bunch of questions that I've gotten out of my comments that I get over and over again. And so if you've ever asked a question in my comments and maybe I didn't get back to you, or you had a question that you meant to ask in the comments and just didn't, well, maybe it'll be answered right here. So you know what? Let's not wait around. Let's get right to it. My analytics say that like 80% of the people that watch my content aren't subscribed. Am I doing something wrong? Well, then you should let me know in the comments. But otherwise, if you're looking for tools, tips, and tricks that can help make you a better YouTuber or a live streamer, why not subscribe to the channel and click that bell so you don't miss any new content? The first question here is actually more of a statement, but it says the sound repeats over and over and I don't know how to stop it. So generally speaking, there are usually two solutions to this problem. The first one, if we go over here into our live stream, you can see that it is showing us a preview of our live stream. And if you don't have this muted, then it's going to play through your system audio. And if it's playing through your system audio and OBS is inputting your system audio, then because the stream is about 10 seconds delayed, you're going to get it repeating over and over again. The second thing you might have set up improperly is if we go over here into OBS and we go into advanced audio properties, you can see I have two audio sources in here. And if either of these audio sources are producing sound through speakers, that's going to feed back into your microphone, which is going to cause that whole round robin of sound. So you've got to have these on monitor off, or if you have them on monitor and output so that you want to hear them, you've got to be wearing headphones and the audio source has to be routed to those headphones. Otherwise, all you're going to get is it playing through your speakers, feeding back in through your microphone, and of course causing that sound to repeat over and over again. Now, if you're streaming live to Facebook or Twitter or Twitch or anywhere else that you're streaming to, all the same things apply. If you have the Twitch stream running as a preview in another screen, you're picking up desktop audio, then that's going to be picked up by your desktop audio and play through your system. So you're going to get that round robin. So it's not just YouTube. You absolutely have to mute those previews. And once you do that, you shouldn't have the sound playing over and over again. That's the most likely scenario. Question number 2, why use NDI and not the virtual cable? Are there some benefits? Now for me, I think that using NDI is a big benefit, and here's the reason. NDI includes all the video and the audio in one package, which means that wherever you're shipping that signal to, whether it's Zoom or Skype or anything, it's all going to be carried in the same signal, which means whatever's produced in OBS is going to be produced with the same quality at the same time and exported to whatever you're using. And this is a benefit because we've all had sync problems between video and audio in all kinds of other sources and things like that. So if you're using the virtual camera, this only carries your camera signal, not your audio, which means you've got to use some sort of secondary delivery system for your audio, like virtual cables or something else, or even maybe just directly into Zoom or Skype or whatever you're using. And in my experience, this will deliver some sync problems that won't happen if you use NDI. So that's why I almost always recommend NDI as your video and audio source. Now, some people may not experience these problems and maybe they have much better equipment, but I tend to think that the people that are watching this channel are using older equipment or trying to kind of get by with what they have, and they're not buying the latest and greatest. So in my opinion, giving them the option that's probably going to work best for them makes the most sense. And NDI carries both video and audio, which is why that's what I recommend, because whatever's output in OBS is going to be what is received in whatever you're using, whether it's Zoom or Skype or Teams or Google Meet. All of those things will receive the NDI source and the NDI audio, and you shouldn't have the same kind of sync problems that you're going to have when you're combining multiple different sources using the virtual camera. So there you go. Question 3, how do I get my audio through my headphones? When I play my intro video, I see the audio moving, but I can't actually hear it. Well, this one's pretty easy. In OBS, if you go into settings, you're going to want to go down into audio. Then you're going to want to go to advanced and then monitoring device. Under monitoring device, go ahead and select what you want to hear your audio in this case, your headphones. Once you do that, you click apply and OK, and then we're going to go into our advanced audio properties. And this is going to show us all the audio things for this particular scene. And if you use the same audio things in all the different scenes, you really only have to set this up once. But right here you can see it says monitor off. And that means that this particular video is going to go to the audience and all the audio as well, but I'm not going to hear it. So if I want to be able to hear the audio with the monitoring device, in this case the headphones, I'm going to select monitor and output. And this means it will go out to the stream and I'll be able to hear it at the same time. So hopefully this will help you out. The next question is, how am I able to use the same camera in OBS and in Zoom at the same time? And I get this question a lot, so I'm just going to clear this up right now. You can't. If your camera is being used by OBS, then Zoom will not use the same camera source. It's just the way it works. In order to do this, I have more than one camera set up, or I use NDI to send my camera from OBS to Zoom, and obviously then it's not using the same camera source. OBS is using my camera and Zoom is using the NDI camera, which is the same camera, but it's kind of different. If you wanted to have multiple cameras or show a different angle in Zoom, you can set up one camera in OBS with an NDI source and a second camera like a webcam or something else to set up a second camera source in Zoom. Then you have two angles. Or if you're trying to use a separate camera in OBS and in Zoom and you want it to be basically the same camera, you can use a webcam or something like that. Anytime that I'm using multiple cameras or it looks like I'm using the same source in both Zoom and OBS, it's because either I'm using NDI or I'm using a webcam in one source and my regular camera in another source. You cannot use the exact same camera source in two places. And I hope this clears that up because I get this question all the time. Question number 5 is another one I get all the time. What software do you use to edit your videos? Now, I use Adobe Premiere and After Effects to edit my videos, but all of the edits that I do can easily be done in DaVinci Resolve as well, which is totally free. You don't have to think that just because you're not using Adobe products like Premiere and After Effects that you can't get the same results that I get. 99.9% of the results that I get are because I spent the time to set up the lights that you see and all that kind of stuff. If you take the time to set up the lighting and all that stuff and possibly the microphone like I have set up and all that standard, then every time you film, you're going to get the same results, and it makes it a whole heck of a lot easier to do some really cool editing. And you can do really cool editing in free software like DaVinci Resolve, or you could do it in cool products like Adobe Premiere and After Effects. Either one will work fine. Personally, I use Adobe Premiere and After Effects though. So hopefully that answers your question. Number 6 is more like a statement, but I never understand why so many people write this sort of thing to me. And it says, nothing will ever work for me. I get horrible streams. It's unwatchable. Now, if you're struggling because your stream's not coming off right, you're getting delays, or you're getting a lot of lag, or you're dropping a lot of frames, or whatever the problem is, you're having audio issues. Well, I have a bunch of videos that can really help you troubleshoot to find out what your problem is. And sometimes the problem is that your equipment just isn't really strong enough to do what you're trying to do. But I've already done a bunch of tutorials on how you can troubleshoot what's actually going on so that you know my machine's not fast enough, or my audio is not set up properly, or something like that. So there's no mystery as to why you're doing horrible streams if you actually go through the tutorials to find out why your stream is not functioning properly. If you want to see one of those videos, you can check those out. There's a little link up here in one of these corners, and go ahead. I promise you that if you figure out why you're having streaming problems, well, then you can fix it. Or if you have to, you can get better equipment. But to be honest with you, just about any equipment that you have at home, you can find a way to live stream well. You just might have to lower the resolution. And in these videos, I kind of show you how to do all of the things that you need to do to make sure that your system is going to function properly for your live stream. So check them out. Question number 7, is there any way to group scenes? And the simple answer to this is not really. You can't group scenes together specifically. But if I go over here into sources in a scene, I can group different sources together. So I can take these two videos and select them both, right click, and then select group. And I can name the group, and there we go. Now we have these two sources grouped together. But one other way to do something like this is if I go over here and I create a new scene, and then I go into the sources of that scene and I'm gonna just load a video in here. A really simple video. So now if I go back into that scene that I just grouped those two videos in, I can go here and I can click the plus and I can add a scene to these sources. So I can physically add another complete scene right to these sources. And if I add the scene that I just created with the video, there we go. There's the Ferris wheel video. Now you can see that theoretically, if you were to create a bunch of scenes and then add them as sources into one scene, then you could probably group them together and use them that way. But I'm not sure what the purpose for that would be. I do know that there are a lot of great things that you can do with nested scenes that can involve you adding a face cam and things like that. So anytime you add that scene to your video, so let's say you wanted to have a camera that you used in multiple different scenes, and then just add that scene as a source into any other scene that you want to use. And that way you add that camera with all those filters, like your overlays and any other filters that you use. So using nested scenes is a great way to kind of do what I think you're asking to do right here. And if you want to see more about how nested scenes work, you can check this video out right here. Question number 8. So the individual is using something like Zoom or Skype or something like that to add guests in their live stream. This user is having an issue where he adds a guest into OBS and the screen is constantly changing sizes for his guest. And this is a pretty easy fix. So the easiest way to do this is to right click on the source that continues to change sizes. And really, I'd probably do this on every source that you add that's going to be a guest from Zoom or Skype or something like that. So you right click on that and you go to transform. Then you want to select edit transform, and then under bounding box type you want to select scale to inner bounds. Then it's going to resize the window, so just size it exactly the way you want to have it on your live stream. And once you do this, it will automatically make sure that no matter what the resolution is that Skype or Zoom or whatever is sending you, it will always conform to the size of the box that you just set up. And that is going to keep it from changing sizes intermittently throughout your stream. And I probably should have put this in a previous tutorial, and for whatever reason, this is like one of those steps that I always overlook. So that is how you're going to make sure that your boxes don't change size while you're live streaming for your guests. I hope this helps a lot of people. Question number 9. This is just a general response to a question I get all the time about plugins in Streamlabs OBS. This specific question asks if you can use the spectralizer in Streamlabs OBS. And the long and short of it is no, Streamlabs OBS does not allow you to add plugins in. And of course that kind of sucks because you can only use those plugins in OBS Studio. But then again, OBS Studio in my opinion is a much more powerful utility that just gives you a lot more control without all the extra overhead of Streamlabs OBS. I do think Streamlabs OBS is an awesome live streaming utility for people who are just starting out and trying to figure out how live streaming works. But I think if you really want to get the most out of your live stream, then OBS Studio makes a lot more sense. So if you're just starting out, use the preset stuff and all that kind of stuff in Streamlabs OBS. There's so much to work with. But once you get your live streaming legs under you, you should probably move over to OBS Studio and give yourself access to all of the other amazing utilities that you have access to in OBS Studio, like plugins and scripts. What sort of things do you struggle with for your live streams? Go ahead and ask the questions below and maybe I'll do a follow-up video that answers your question. And if your live stream struggles with frame drops or audio problems or something like that, you should probably check out this video right here. It can really help you to troubleshoot what's actually going wrong. My name is Michael Fire Jr. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.